Wonderful. My name is James Talarico. I have the honor of serving as state representative for House District 50 here in the Texas House. And I am honored to be here with leaders from a variety of faith traditions in our community and across the state of Texas. We are here to celebrate an important victory in the fight against Christian nationalism. There was a bill passed in the last legislative session that would allow school districts to replace school counselors with untrained, unsupervised, unqualified religious chaplains. We had folks speak out against this bill from across the political spectrum, from across different faith traditions, from across different communities. And we are proud to announce that 25 of the biggest school districts in Texas have rejected this policy at the local level. We are protecting our students and we are protecting our religious liberties at the local level across the state of Texas. This is important progress, but we also want to recognize that this is a growing movement. This same bill has been proposed in multiple other states. This month alone, it has already passed 3 state legislatures, and there are 4 more where the bill was introduced just recently. So this is a fight that's far from over. We're happy to celebrate the victories here in Texas at the local level, but we've got to do so much more to resist Christian nationalism across the country. Christian nationalism is on the rise. 3 years ago, Christian nationalists stormed the U.S. Capitol, killing police officers while carrying crosses and signs reading "Jesus saves." 2 years ago, Christian nationalists on the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, allowing states like ours to outlaw abortion even in cases of rape and incest. And as we speak, Christian nationalist billionaires are attempting to dismantle public education in the state of Texas and therefore dismantle democracy. Let me be very clear. There is nothing Christian about Christian nationalism. It is the worship of power, political power, social power, economic power in the name of Christ. And it is a betrayal of Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus never asked us to kill police officers. Jesus never asked us to ban books, silence teachers, or defund schools. Jesus never asked us to control women's bodies. Jesus never asked us to establish a Christian theocracy. All he asked was that we love thy neighbor, not just our Christian neighbors, not just our straight neighbors, not just our male neighbors, not just our white neighbors, not just our rich neighbors. We are called to love all of our neighbors. And that is exactly the opposite of what Christian nationalism does in the world. And so I am calling upon all Christians and all Americans to confront the sin that is Christian nationalism and denounce it at every level. We have a couple of other speakers that are going to talk about this particular policy and the progress we've made, as well as this growing movement across the country and how we can fight back at all levels. Thank you all for being here and thank you for covering it.
Good afternoon. My name is Emily Bourgeois, and I'm the organizer for the Religious Action Center of Texas at the Union for Reform Judaism. I'm honored to be here alongside our allies in this fight against the chaplain bill. I want to use my time today to speak about the Jewish communities that played an integral part in the fight against this bill. Our community has a particularly high stake in this situation. We believe that a core tenet of democracy, and one that has allowed the Jewish community to flourish in the United States, is the separation of church and state. As a religious minority, we are well aware of what it feels like to be other. This is a feeling that is so often shared between the Jewish community and the Muslim community, the Sikh community and the Hindu community, in all of our school districts across Texas. We know that the chaplains being brought into schools in this legislation are not reflective of our community. And we know that the backers of this bill rejected protections against attempts to convert our children to Christianity. At the beginning of this fight, we knew that this policy, if it were to be implemented, would be an existential threat to the Jewish community here in Texas. Our Jewish communities across Texas worked together and took this fight directly to the school districts. I'm proud to be here today representing the Union for Reform Judaism, the largest denomination of Jewish communities in North America, and our 37 Texas synagogues. But I would be remiss not to recognize the contributions of all of the Jewish groups that were involved in organizing against this policy. Our partners, who you'll hear from later today at the ADL, but also the Jewish federations in Dallas, Tarrant County and Fort Worth, San Antonio and Houston, the Women of Reform Judaism, as well as the National Council of Jewish Women, and our allies at Kashet and Sojourn, who work tirelessly on behalf of the students who are part of both the Jewish and LGBT communities, who feel the effects of this legislation on dual fronts. Now, as I rattled off those names to all of y'all, it should be apparent that the Jewish community coalesced around this policy in a really unprecedented way. We are taught in our tradition that it is our responsibility as a collective to teach our values to our children. By protecting children from proselytization today in Texas, we have fulfilled those commandments, are ensuring that the only people who have a say in our children's religious education are our parents, clergy, and Jewish educators who lead our community and work tirelessly every day to instill our values in these kids. I'm standing here today on behalf of the hundreds of Jewish clergy and lay leaders from across the state who came together over the last 6 months to advocate for our children, many of them showing up to their school boards for the first time. And it is because of them that we are here today, and it is because of them that we won. The Jewish community worked alongside our Interfaith Allies who are here today because we know that we are stronger together. When we raise our voices as one community of faith here in Texas, we win. Let this be a lesson to all of the states where this battle is still in front of them. When we raise our voices together against the spread of this legislation across the country, we will win. And if we can win in Texas, we can win anywhere. Thank you.
I am Joshua Houston. I'm the Advocacy Director at Texas Impact. Texas Impact is the membership organization for the state's mainline Protestant, Jewish, and Muslim denominations. So since last summer, our members have urged their local school boards not to create a new school chaplain program. Overwhelmingly, Texas school boards have agreed. We are pleased to report that Texas public schools are still safe for every faith. From our members, we know that the largest 25 school districts in Texas have all rejected creating a new chaplain program. Those 25 districts account for 1 in 3 of all school children in Texas. So 1.8 million out of about 5.5 million children go to a school in one of those districts. These districts are politically diverse. They include places like Austin, Texas, but they also include places like Katy ISD, Cy-Fair, Conroe, Frisco, Plano, and Northeast ISD in San Antonio. We've provided a list for you in your press packet, which you have a QR code for. So we think that Texas is a case study for those in other states facing similar legislation. Over the last 6 months, it was local people of faith talking to their locally elected school boards that caused this outcome. People of faith provided cover for trustees that was quite critical. So local people of faith could say, we know professional chaplaincy. Some of us are professional chaplains. Professional chaplains go through years of training. We know what we're qualified to do and what we're not qualified to do. And we do not want division in our public schools. Local school boards told our members how much they appreciated the good relationships they have with all the different faiths that are present in their community. And they wanted to clearly affirm what they already do with faith communities without doing anything new called school chaplain. And that made sense. So if you look at these resolutions, they continue to allow these current faith-based partnerships. And of course, anyone who happens to be a chaplain can apply for any of these volunteer opportunities so long as, and this is the key, so long as they meet the qualifications for that already existing volunteer position. This is nothing new. It is our current non-discrimination laws. And this is what school districts in Texas overwhelmingly did. So today we're here to say 25 for 25 because that's what we can say with a certainty right now on this very last day for school boards to vote. However, we're very confident that these numbers are much higher and just as overwhelming because of the reports coming in from our members. So in their local lobby efforts, our members report that it really didn't matter whether a school board leaned conservative or leaned liberal, that they all had no interest in doing anything new. A couple of examples that are not in the top 25 that have been in the news a lot lately: Southlake, Grapevine, Colleyville, Keller, Mansfield, all those Tarrant County so-called Patriot Mobile Pack districts, all of them rejected. So that's why we say that we're confident that Texas public schools are still safe for every faith. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Deborah Reeves. I'm here at the invitation of the Baptist Joint Committee for Religious Liberty, a faith-based organization that works to defend and extend religious liberty for all. In response to Senate Bill 763, the BJC called on professional chaplains across faith traditions to sign a petition opposing the creation of chaplain programs in schools. I am a board-certified chaplain who joined more than 170 chaplains in signing the petition in Texas. Because of our training and experience, we know chaplains should not replace school counselors or safety measures in public schools. Professional chaplains often work with mental health professionals to provide holistic care, not in place of them. Having completed 3 years of education for my Master of Divinity degree and an extensive internship followed by a year of residency in clinical pastoral education, having received ordination by a local church and endorsement by a national ecclesial body within my faith tradition, having been through a rigorous certification process and having to maintain board certification with 50 hours of continuing education each year, I am equipped and trained to serve individuals seeking spiritual care without imposing my own faith traditions upon them. A chaplain program in schools that does not require such training, qualifications, or ethical safeguards is a danger to children and their spiritual well-being. It also violates the rights of parents and guardians to choose the religious leaders who influence their child's spiritual journey. A law that allows school districts to create chaplain programs ignores the reality of religious diversity among public school students, assumes a religious role that public schools do not have, and threatens the religious liberty that is protected by all in public schools, according to the BJC. As the pastor to children at First Baptist Church of Austin, I care deeply about spiritual discernment and flourishing faith communities. Our houses of worship and other religious institutions are free to serve the needs of families in all spiritual matters. I believe parents and guardians should choose the people who join them in directing the spiritual development of their children. Local pastors should not be allowed to volunteer as chaplains in public schools. Such a program will embolden those who seek to misuse the authority of chaplains of any religion to evangelize among public school students and staff, and ultimately invite lawsuits over chaplains in our schools. As a mother to 3 young children and a public school defender who also happens to be a board-certified chaplain, I adamantly oppose any such law that permits the creation of a chaplain program in public schools. While I am relieved that all 25 of our largest school districts in Texas did not choose to allow chaplain programs, we must warn others of the dangers to religious freedom and student well-being posed by this type of legislation. We urge school districts across the country to resist these bills and to protect the rights of the children they are entrusted to serve. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Neuenberg, and I am the Regional Director for the Anti-Defamation League. ADL is an organization that has long held that the best way to protect religious liberty is to keep the government out of religion and religion out of government. Since 1913, ADL has been an ardent advocate for religious freedom for all Americans, whether in the majority or the minority. We believe that the best way to safeguard religious freedom is through the separation of church and state, embodied in Article 1, Section 6 of the Texas Constitution. ADL actively organized against SB 763 before its passage from contacting legislators to even submitting a letter to Governor Abbott requesting that he veto the bill. We were proud to collaborate with and advocate alongside our partner organizations that you see here today. Texans of all faiths and backgrounds came together to work with our school boards and to protect Texas students. It speaks to the hard work of our volunteers, the passion they feel about fighting for religious freedom for all students, that so few school districts opted to implement this new program. ADL believes in creating a just and inclusive society for all, and to that end, Texas students and Texas families have won today, and I hope to see that reflected in other states around the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's all we have prepared. We're here to answer any questions you might have, though.
I actually think that the record votes are an asset to our cause because it's going to show lawmakers that this is deeply unpopular in all parts of the state. You know, we've talked about the 25 biggest school districts, but this was also defeated in small rural school districts too, in small towns around the state. So there's no part of Texas where folks want untrained, unqualified, unsupervised religious chaplains replacing school counselors. So this idea was defeated at the local level in every corner of Texas. And so I think that bodes well for our chances of pushing back against Christian nationalism next session. Any other questions? Wonderful. Well, thank you all again for being here. We really appreciate it.